we're recording. And so welcome to this conversation with Mayumi Lake. I am really thrilled that we could be here today. So what I thought I would do is just give a brief introduction, sort of background of the exhibit that Mayumi's work was presented in. We had initially at the Riverside Art Center, we'd had this two-person exhibition planned with Mayumi and Stacia Yapanis, and we had to postpone that when the stay-at-home order was put into place. So Mayumi and Stacia are still scheduled to have a joint show next year in the FlexSpace. But for the time being in March and April, we just kind of put everything on hold. And so as the pandemic continued, I started to think about whether there might be ways that we could use the wonderful windows at the FlexSpace and the space there to continue to share art experiences for people within the context of being in the pandemic and in the stay-at-home, or honoring the stay-at-home orders. And so I wanted to have this, to sort of have an exhibition that offered an opportunity for healing and distraction, maybe movement and light in the context of anxiety and isolation that many of us were feeling as the pandemic kind of extended on. So I contacted Stacia and Mayumi to see if they'd be up for it, and they were, which was really thrilling. So that we put together an exhibit in a fairly short amount of time, and we came up with the title Towards Luminescence to indicate this kind of sense of movement and light and a way out of feeling stuck and alone. And so we had installed Mayumi's work first, and then Stacia's was to follow. And a couple of weeks ago, we had a conversation with Stacia about her participation in the show, because she decided to change what she'd done. And that was a conversation we had with her and another group of people about what she decided to do. And so what we are here today is to look at what Mayumi did as her participation in the show, and visit her studio, and so sort of as a way of introduction, I thought I would just show you a short video that we have of her piece as it was installed. And just before I do that, I just want to say I'm thrilled to be working with Mayumi in this way. I've known Mayumi and I've known each other for a long time, and I've been an admirer of her work for even a long time before I even met her. When I was in Santa Fe years ago, I was in the Photo Eye bookstore, and I bought this marvelous little book called Pucci, which was a book that Mayumi had made. And I encourage you, if you haven't seen it, to take a look at it. It's a brilliantly funny little book. And so I've been an admirer of Mayumi's work for a long time. So, so I will just hit my share screen and show you this. This video of, so this is the installation of Mayumi's work, and I hope the video is just sort of flowing. Sometimes the internet can be a little slow, but this is how the work was installed, and then we have a daytime view of it also. And so Mayumi, I'll just turn it over to you at this point.
Okay, so that this so the original idea for this installation came as a kind of like a miniature or more like a more like a condensed version of my earlier installation that I did for the Chicago Artists Coalitions when I was in a boat residency. That was I have the I'll show the image a little later, but I illuminated the room with pink, and then has a disco ball spinning, and then so that when I was asked from Liz to do like a, hey, do you want to do like an the outside viewing, like a window display only, the installation, so that that nobody can come in, to be safe from the COVID-19. So this is, I immediately thought, okay, I'm gonna do a more colorful version. It's kind of underwater night disco version of that the installation. And then well then there's a couple components in this installation. One, it have to be really visible from the window, and then outside the window, and I also wanted to have a day mode and a night mode. So what you're seeing is a day during a day version. There is the 3 feet long the photo collage spinning in inside the space, and it's accompanied with three disco ball bear, which is you can see it, and I I brought this little bear again for this talk. So this work is this work I started it 2016 or 2016 to 20 yeah, I kind of start to think about 2016 and start to physically making it from 2017. This is about like going back to the history of my peoples. I'm Japanese, living here for 25 years, but so that I wanted to bring it back to some kind of the forgotten part of the history to then revitalize and using an 21st century, which is digital photo. So these flower is based on 7th and 8th, uh, 7th, 7th or 8th century that very decorative mythical flower. It's called a Housouge. It's the literally translated to like an the what was a treasure mythical flower. So and then that was all made up flowers that people believe to bloom in an afterlife. So when they died, when they did that, when they had that good karma, they can go to the the heaven, nirvana, and they can see all those beautiful mythical flower in everywhere. So and then 7th and 8th century in ancient Japan, there was like a natural disaster and a political chaos is happening, kind of like what we have in here in 2020 um, world. So and then so that bigger the fear that those people, that the ancient people have, they their imagination about this mythical flower also get bigger and then more immersive. So I wanted to make that that reflecting my own fear about what's happening in the U.S. and then also my homeland Japan, and it's all over the world. Um, and then wanted to that kind of project my fear into this mythical flower, and then I started to make it very very tiny, like a the uh, scotch tape and a tiny little flower collage, but then eventually it's get bigger and bigger. I think it's reflecting in my own fear and also reflecting in this world fear. And then for this pandemic, so when I start to make this one, that was like when we just start to go to the lockdown in Chicago. So I had my fear about how war is gonna be, and then back then that was like the COVID-19 that was exported in Wuhan, China, and then slowly moving to Japan. They had like a cruise ship, and then the cruise ship, and then 100 people got infected in there. So then the fear over those and the pandemic is going to take over the world, and then it is kind of taking over the United States right now, or the all over the world. So so that one side is the old work that I made. It's the form. It's actually that sorry, I will show you that image later, but it's shaped like a mushroom cloud. So it started so that this side, this colorful side, is my older work that I made for the end of last year. It was supposed to shape like a mushroom cloud, and then the I was looking at all those 1950s, the atomic girl pinups. Those the people dressing like the people make a mushroom shaped crowd cake. People dress like the crowd, and they look like atomic pinup girls. So then, so one country's that disaster, or like the horrible that things happen is that for the other countries, it is for the other group of people, it is considered as a achievement and then the good, like the the victory of the science. So I thought it's very interesting, that when I see all those atomic bombs documentary, it was all like, everybody is either burned to the charcoal, or, those horrifying story of then aftermath of then Hiroshima and Nagasaki. But in here, it was like a, like a advancement of that, like thing. So it was very interesting. So I wanted to have so that I had those conflict and then fear inside. So that's why I made this mushroom shaped crowd. Um, just to show you. So, oh wait, sorry. I have to do the share again. This is fine. You guys will see it. So this is the front side. It's so the in terms of the how I make this is I collect vintage kimono, antique kimono. For I've been doing this for last like 12 years. Then I'm also, that I run an kimono wearing an the gathering in Japanese people in the Chicago area. So today I'm wearing a more casual version, yukata, which is summer casual. So it's cotton, it's not silk. So you can, whole idea is it's supposed to be casual, and you sweat, you wash it, so easily to deal with it. So this is the summer version. But you can see like a similarity of the color between these, what I'm wearing it, and then also that it might work. So this is a front side. This is so that I have all little girls kimonos that I've been collecting, like something like this. So then since I'm a photographer, and then when I made a decision to expand and beyond the 2D surface, it was a natural progression for me to still use a photographic technique as my like a home base. So I have a scanner in a home, so that this flower like this, and I scan this in pretty high resolution, and then I will fix it in I probably shouldn't fix it, but it's sometimes, since this is a dye thing, or the silk screen or the pour, they pour the dye. But anyway, so you can see some like their hiccups, missing spot. So for that, I will fix it in Photoshop, and then I will change the size, and then I can so in that way I can make the unlimited number of this flower motif. Um, so that was my choice, instead of actually chopping this traditional, that garment, which is the garments already survived so many years until they reach to me. So I don't really want to end this garment's life, and then it's considered as a pretty much like a dead tradition to wear the kimono. So I don't want to dye this garment life and on my hand. So and also I like the idea of making a photographic making an inkjet prints using a photographic techniques is kind of giving it a new life to this kind of old dead habit, and then kind of making a reincarnation for this old habit. And then also, I mean, it's the most easiest reason I did it was the most convenient, because I know this is how I know how to make the stuff, and then it's easier for me. But it makes me to that duplicate this flower pattern like as many as I want. So using a printer. So that is that in the front side, and then the back side is this is the backside piece that I made for this installation. I have to make, so then backside for the back of the first piece, that last piece that I showed, it was just that you can see my glues on those, the fabric, and it's very messy. So I said, oh, I have to make something to hide the back side of the previous kit. So I made exactly same size duplication mirror image using a very similar flowers, but I decided to put the word of a typecasting just because when I was making this, I was watching an PBS Asian American documentary, which is very good. And then at the part one episode at the end, they were talking about the Anime Wang and then Sesshu Hayakawa. They're both Asian actor and actress in the early Hollywood time, and they both suffered in they can only play in a certain kind of a role that is then I thought, oh, I mean, sometimes I feel like it is expecting, I'm also expected to, act a certain way, or people look at me that way, regardless, that is not fit in who really I am. So that word really struck me, and then I was gonna put some other word, but then I said, okay, well, that since this word is very intriguing, and then stuck my head at that time. So that why don't I use it? So kind of like make it to. I usually like when things happens, the incident or all those idea happens. I usually just let those things marinated in my head for a long time. But for this one, I saw it that night, and then I said, this is very intriguing, and then I'm just gonna use it. So yeah, so that, and then I wanted to make those two flowers or atomic bomb shape, mushroom cloud shape, spinning in a space, and then accompanies with those the disco light RGB. I thought it's very, that it's kind of suggests an photographic RGB thing, and then that this disco ball bears is yes. I always use this one. This is very simple. Um, that things it just and then it has a disco ball face instead. So I have 3 of this. So in old Japanese, the mythical story, there is the first god has 3 gods. So it's called the 3 holy gods. So that's why I made this 3 and just that, floating aside of this the flower mushroom cloud. So that was an yeah, that was my installation. So so that this is what wait, oh, view blah. So I enter full screen. So this is the sort of the original version of this the installation at Riverside Art Center. This one is in Chicago Artist Coalition 2017, the pink light, and then disco ball. So I wanted to, since this is a Housouge is blooming in the afterlife, nirvana or other side, I kind of want to make it to similar space, but not that I don't want to use the I don't want to paint the wall because I supposed to paint back this wall, and this is like a 35 feet long room, so it's very narrow room. So, but I want to fill this space with lights and then the bright color, which is also coming from my the flower. So I got the idea of I teach photo lighting class. So I said, oh, why don't I use my lighting, then skills. So then I said, well, then I'm just going to use this theatrical light thing, and then make the whole space grow in a pink, so I don't have to paint the wall. And then it's super easy to the install too. So yeah, and then wait. Sorry.
Mayumi, can
Yes.
you hear me? Can you talk about the idea of the idea of this was a temple, right? Did you mention that?
So this is like I said, the hosoge is a flower supposed to be bloomed in afterlife, right? And then also 6th and 7th century, the people, I think up until like a 12th century, people use this the hosoge to decorate the inside of a sacred space, like inside of a temple where all those big Buddha statues sitting. It was just all surrounded by those crazy, hideous, colorful hosoge. And then it's as then that bigger the structure, building structure, there are all those more immersed that the hosoge decoration began. So this is a book. I don't know that maybe maybe I will stop it here. So um this is a shrine like a rich people shrine. Rich people shrine. Anyways, this is called Byodoin. It's in Kyoto. It was built in the 12th century, and then the inside of this is like the height of a hosoge interior decoration time. So this is a computer graphics recreation. This is a hideous, crazy color thing. So if you think about those Japanese old the color palette that most people think about Zen, it's all muted color, monochromatic. But before that time, there was a super bright the their that the color is reflecting their the vision of the afterlife. So this is what it's look like in this all color is all washed off, and but in they're imagining this is, I'm trying to find, this is what used to be, right? This all little tiny flower and a crazy everything. So that's the kind of a vision that I thought. This is like kind of like my fear can get easily, that are blended into this kind of a crazy flower pattern. And of course, these flower patterns originally came from Middle East, and then it went to China, and then came down to Japan, and then so it has all like these flower pattern already traveled so many miles. So, and then I like that sense of the that one idea travel into the different place of the world over the time, and then it get like it kind of looks same, but its idea itself got transferred to the transform to something else. So I guess that's the good bridge to talk about Hello Kitty. So then, but before I go to Hello Kitty, maybe I'll see. So this is other installation I did. So then, as I said, it started a very tiny, like the um, very simple collage, and then it's get the bigger and the bigger, and then I feel I still consider myself as a photographer, and then I'm still learning how to make those things in 3D. So um yeah, every day I make this work, I'm just figuring out, and then finally I know how to use a drill, and then finally I know how to use a jigsaw. So I think it getting comfortable, but still a lot of things to learn. So yeah, but it is also like me as a photographer, we supposed to, the photographer, we supposed to do like a really clean surface, the workspace have to be very clean, and then the no dust when you're framing image, and then you have to do like all those the anti dust procedure, and then those things, that's how I used to make my work for like um, um, and before I switched to this work. But now that that I yes, I used to do the Photoshop, I used to make a print, but I can cut the print, which is like people don't do that. So it's, and then also I can smudge the things on the surface of that the cut the print. So it is great, and then I can glue it, and then I can put like an the uh, gold leaf, and then all those crazy small stuff that I found, which the you can see these this little plastic thing, and then I don't know if you can see, maybe or something like this. That these are the bead stuff, the sequin stuff, and then those are the hair extension. This is gold leaf. So I can mix up those various things and the print, which is great revelation. And then I chose this small object based on that, coming from my own sentimental feeling about my own childhood. I'm a child of the 70s, and then those colorful like plastic stuff was everywhere when I was a kid. But I also connotated as like a very attractive the Western culture things, mostly American things. So I used to collect those small stuff and then admire and then look at it, oh, this is so cool. So and so that in this Unison work, I'm trying to mix my ancient the fascination, the my fascination of the ancient things, ancient kimono pattern, and then also my childhood fascination about the shiny Western plastic bright color thing, and then marinate it in in this work surface. So yeah, sorry, I'm just talking a lot. So do you guys have any questions?
I think you can all unmute yourselves. And then,
Hello, can you hear me? I'm already familiar with most of your works, but it's really exciting to see that you are experimenting with some tags on your this sculptural photo-based works. So do you plan on continuing using some tags on your works?
Yeah.
The type casting, because it's very straightforward compared to the rest of your works in the same series, because a lot of elements are so subtle, those added plastic pieces.
Yeah, well then, that in there is quite few or more than, there's a ton of artists who use text in their work, right? But then so that I was always looking for that is how I can because sometimes that my work can be very submissive, and then like everything that no, I don't know, that too quiet sometimes. So I thought it's the yeah, that was yeah, I'm really happy that I saw that uh, the previous documentary, because that emotion that I had seeing this was like, okay, well then, if I make the flower, that takes too much time. Then, if I put word, that is a little bit more clear, and then it can reach people quicker. So then I said, why don't I mix those things? So, but I was originally that making, the word. So this is what my original idea for the, I started to use a 3D pen, which is very fun, maybe like a year and a half ago. So, and then I started to write typecasting, and then I was gonna originally put it in the surface of the work, like that. But then my 3D pen broke. So then, I know I have to finish the work within that night, so that I use that any other available stuff in my studio, which was a ribbon. I had I had a tons of a ribbon in was some reason. So I just so that I just formed a word using a ribbon, and then I think it worked better for that piece. So with that material, but yes, yeah. In turn, to answer your question, yeah, I'm collecting a couple words that I can use, and then that I also think like, do I want to say all in English can I say in Japanese? But then the fear of my work is that I always have a fear of how much cultural things is too much, and then my work is already have a heavy the Japanese or Asian history in there. So then that my fear of that when my works is there's a borderline between somebody's work becoming didactic, and then somebody can also see it and then have a feel of that. So yeah, so I think in that way, I think I'm gonna stick with English for now, but we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see.
thank you. And also the spinning feature, I really appreciate because your sculpture is spinning. Because it took me like 3 spins for me to really see the words. I think it's hard because when people, I can imagine when people first look at your works, they're so colorful, so celebratory. But when the text, and they could take a second to think about what you're really trying to say and the message you're trying to convey. So it's not behind all those colorful things, and there's some painful, dark, those experiences that you're trying to put out.
I mean, I when Liz asked me like the window display, the work to be seen from the outside of the window of the gallery, that I said, well, it's kind of like a storefront. Then a storefront, that's things are always spinning or rotating. So that's how I get that idea. But I think it worked very well. That as it spins, it's like it's the you actually makes the people to see more and they read the things in the and then everything is turned, has something new information is added it to the viewer, which I thought was a happy accident. Yeah. Should I move to the other side of the studio and then see the so I don't know. This is like when everybody becomes like seasick, right? So I have a couple. Oh yeah, this is things I just hang it for today. I had these couple of my old work from beginning of this year, and then also end of the last year with another CAC show. But I know I'm supposed to pack it, but it's hot in my studio. So, and then I have a few stuff in. This is also it's ready to be, the packed.
So Mayumi, are those pieces that you were just showing, are those floor pieces the ones with the mirrors?
Yeah, the one with the mirrors.
Yeah, are those for the floor? They're intended to be seen on the floor, or do they hang?
Well, it can be shown either way. It can be hanged on the wall, but for the show that I did with this piece was there's no much space in the wall, so I end up showing it on the floor with a stool. So let's see, this is that's the dollar store mirror coming from Chinatown. Yeah, and then
Can you show us your Corona?
oh yeah, my Corona photo, but sorry, this is when everybody gets seasick. So when the pandemic started, I started to make and also I was thinking, I don't think I was thinking this is gonna be this serious. So I said, oh yeah, I'm gonna make a cute Corona. So I made it, but then things get pretty serious. So then I start to make so this is a Corona piece. And then I start to make this one. This is called amabie, meaning that about 200 years ago, this mermaid showed up in the shore in Housouge in Japan. And then the mermaid predicted So from 6 years, it's gonna be like you guys gonna get lots of rice and then harvested very well. But pandemic gonna happen. So when pandemic happens, draw the picture of me and then show it to people. That would cure the pandemic. So and then so that when COVID-19 get pretty bad in Japan, that everybody who does illustration or who makes the art, they draw or make that this Amabi figure and then show it to the social network so people can see it. So I did the same thing. So here, this will cure. This will cure the you know COVID-19. So yes. Yeah. Anybody have any more questions or yeah?
Mayumi.
Yes. 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 Hi, Alan.
Hi. So I
Hi.
know you started scanning in response to not wanting to cut up your own kimonos and be able to use things and reuse things and overuse them. But
Right. Right.
in that interim, have you ever thought of using not so much your fully functional kimonos, but I know that there's a lot of recycling now of old kimonos that are just too ruined to be worn in Japan.
Right. Well, I use those too because it's then you should see my attic. It's a mess. So that it's like one of my things is one of my things is a weird thing to say. Like an the feeling for the things is it's about to disappear, right? So even so the I think you're talking about things like borrow, right? Or those old and reused, upcycled, or downcycled the people's clothes, which is brought it to here and it's so expensive in here and it's art form. But that kind of things, I also use those. I also not only like those these completed girls kimono. I also buy like just a tiny piece of the fabric, and then I will recreate the pattern from like toned edges. So yeah, but I'm not gonna cut it. I can't.
That is what I guess I'm getting at is, have you thought, I mean, you're always 1 degree away from the original, right? You're sort of
Right,
in a
yeah.
reproductive mode, which makes sense for a photographer. But is there
Right.
any time you're gonna sort of go past that sacrosanct line and actually utilize that material, knowing that it's a one of a kind, or knowing that it's unique in that respect?
Yeah, well, that if I don't cut it, somebody might wear this when. So let's say we lose this habit to wear the kimonos, and right after World War II, right? It only takes 10 years to the habit get wiped off from the females' everyday life under the name of the civilization, like westernized civilized life. So those are already like, and then um, if that kind of habit comes back, somebody can still wear it, somebody can use that fabric and to make it something. I'm also like every time I go to the antique market in Japan, I always fight with there's we call it as the crafty ladies, those people who buy this from like a pile of the fabric kimonos. They buy it and then they will cut these pieces and then make it to like a skirt, shirts, bangs. So I always fight with those people, and then I always tell them like, are you gonna wear this? If you're not gonna wear this, I'm gonna buy it because I'm gonna wear it. Oh yes.
So then you do that, right? You have a group that you join, like you dress in traditional dress and go places together, right? Dressed in kimono.
Yeah, so then this is it's about like a 10 people. We all wear we before we get to know each other, we all wear it, and that individually and then here and there in Chicago. Then one day we had an occasion that we all meet in one spot, and they said, "Do you wear this?" And then, "Oh, I don't know, you wear that." Then I said, "Okay, well then let's make an occasion so we can get together. We all can wear it, and then it's kind of like a cultural performance thing." Um, so we can't really meet right now because it's we can't because of the COVID-19. But yeah, we used to go out, and then just to do it started as a social occasion, but we also start to do like a lecture. We also start to do like an fashion, like not fashion show, like displaying and those old kimonos and different styles. So it's very interesting. And then I'm also very surprised that that people actually interested in kimonos in here. So just be great. Um, yes, we don't get to Hello Kitty, but
So we are at a little bit before 3, and I'm sorry we got a late start. But I did want to just, does anyone else have any, I mean, there's tons more to talk about, the influence of anime in your work, and the Hello Kitty and cultural, Japanese popular culture, which you touched on a little bit. But I wanted to, does anyone have any other questions or comments or observations or insights?
Hi, I'm Laura.
hi.
Your work is beautiful, and I
Thank you.
love the drawing of traditional with contemporary, and it seems very vibrant and alive. One of my questions is regarding how you preconceive your work, each piece. Do you draw it out first, or do you make all the pieces and then kind of improvise as you go? Because you're definitely a maker. And how does it work for you?
Sometimes it's I'm trying to see if sometimes I draw the things, but there is a reason that I was a photographer. Like I can't find the shape, or like some sorry, it's like this could be my sketches.
Yeah.
So, right, so it's or like this could be my sketches. So that is a half, and then the other half it would just I kind of started to do last night, that that start to do very spontaneously. It usually starts as like a circular shape, and then usually I find I have my source material, the kimonos, and then scan, and then do Photoshop. That usually takes like for a while, and then just cut, and then see if it's how I feel for a while. Then that it's sometimes works very spontaneously. So it goes either way, but that I'm not drawing person, so not anymore. Yeah, I wish I could make like those the very good sketches, but when I do larger scale size work, I make like a tiny mock-ups, but the mock-up doesn't really reflect what I'm going to actually use. It was just a kind of more like outline thing. But yeah, it usually starts to be laid back, and then my wonderful this joy. So
And the other question I had was about the color pink of the room that you showed.
mm-hmm.
I loved it. It was great, and it was a fun idea instead of painting the room like you mentioned. Is there a significance to that color for you?
Well, that the pink. Well, that pink is very. Well, that that from the, what was it? It was it used to be boys' color. It gets switched to the girls' color, right? And sometimes in like before the end of 19th century. No, it switched to the Victorian time. But pink was used a lot in those girls' kimono, right? And then also there was a so then when I was in residency and then while ago, and then we had that couple other Asian artists, and then for the residency that we all have to buy the shoes, and then there's a color choice like a white, red, pink, blue, and then all those things, and then all Asians we wanted to get pink, right? And they said, "Are you gonna get pink?" But then we all said, "No, because that's so expected. So let's not do that." So, and then we all said it's pink is so expected for the Asian female to wear it. So then that was like, and so the pink has always like I love the pink, but something that like I has a love and hate relationship. It's just gonna be like kind of going to the typecasting thing. It was expected for us to the play role, but then we had a hesitance. But I love it. But then I also for this installation I said, why don't I mean I'm always using a really like heavily Asian theme, which is I always like hesitated to do. It's also love and hate. Then why don't I face it? My fear, the pink. So that's why I decided to do it in pink. I also tried the other color. I tried it with the blue. I tried it the red, but it didn't have that same vibrancy in the space. So that's why.
Great. Any other questions or comments? All right. Well, thank you, Mayumi. This has been really fun tour of the studio. Yes, I really appreciate it. And thanks everyone for joining us. Thank you for sticking with us through the technological glitches at the start. And thanks again. And this video, we'll put this recording on our YouTube channel, and I'll send out a notice when that's available. So if you'd like to revisit it, you can, or if there's someone who would like to share it with, please feel free to do so.
All right, thank you so much.